Okay guys, welcome to the second part of the tutorial for the M81 and M82 editing. In the first part we saw how to deal with the linear stage of the image, whereas in the second part of the tutorial we'll deal with the HDR and of course with saturation, contrast and star management. Okay, so in order to get a very similar image, because it is impossible to get the same exact image I previously made, I will help me with I will use the History Explorer to see what I did previously on all of the images and to try to replicate as precisely as possible. So first step is to create a range mask, because if you don't create a range mask and you start editing your curves, your saturation, you will target also the background, and you don't want to target the background because otherwise you will start getting weird colors, artifacts, and so on. So first step is to create a new range mask. So you have to go to Process or Processes and open Range Selection. In the Range Selection window, you have to boost the lower limit to 0. Let's say 14, and the smoothness, I think, around 20, or even like 18 should be fine. I'll leave it as 20. I also check the screening option, because otherwise you will get like a solid mask. And the screening method lets you like apply all the changes in a very gradual way. So let's click on the square button, let's close the preview, and here we have our range mask. First of all, you have to drag the name of the range mask under the name of the Starless tutorial. So drop it here, and you should see that this name tab changed color and it became orange. This means that you have a mask applied over your image. To see the mask, you have to select your image, go to Mask, and click Show Mask. You will see that everything turns red, with the like some areas of the galaxy that are visible. This means that let me hide the mask. This means that every edit you will make, it will target only the galaxies rather than the background. So in the previous edit I made, I lowered down a little bit the RGBK, like the curves, because I noticed that the image, I noticed that the image was a little bit too bright. Like, I lowered it just a little bit. I don't know if you can see the difference. Let me zoom on it. This is with the curves. This is without the curves. I just lowered down it a little bit. Okay, let's apply this one to the image. Okay, and that's done. Of course, to find the curves transformation, you have to go to Process, All Processes, and open Curves Transformation. The next step is the HDR Multiscale Transform. You can find it here in Process, All Processes, HDR Multiscale Transform. In the first multiscale transform, and this is a very important step because like usually the HDR should be applied before doing any edit. Otherwise, if you like mess a little bit with the curves before applying HDR, and after after touching the curves you decide to apply HDR, then you probably end with a burned image and you will lose detail in the highlights. So my advice is to apply HDR before doing any editing, right after stretching. So I set the number of layers to 5, which is how strong the HDR is. The lower the number, the higher will be the strength of the HDR multiscale transform. I checked the median transform, I checked to lightness, and I checked lightness mask. Now drag and drop the HDR over your image. As you can see, now the galactic core of the nebula, of the galaxy, sorry, is a little bit more visible. If you, especially on the M82, because if you go back, as you can see, you lose the nebulosity, whereas with the HDR applied, you have much more information to work with. Okay, let's close the HDR multiscale transform, and the next step is to apply, of course, with a range mask, the saturation. So you have to open the curves transformation in process, all processes curves transformation, and go here, click on the saturation icon, which is the last icon of these. Well, you can decide how much saturation you want to apply over your image, to your image. My advice is not to boost saturation all the way up like crazy. Oh, first of all, let's open the preview window. My advice is to go in little steps and not to go like crazy with the saturation. So bring down the saturation, I'd say over like this. You don't see much improvements if you like see the before and the after, but don't worry because we are applying it in small steps, so you gradually see a difference. So I'd say to apply it once. Okay, let's say we can apply it twice. Okay, let's see if a third time is good, and I think it's looking good, so we can apply it a third time. Okay, and we are done with the saturation. Then I went on the curves transformation. You can like keep open the same window. The important is that you remember to reset by clicking this button, to reset all the settings that you previously applied and to apply the next one. So now let's go to RGBK, and I made this curve on the on the graphic. Let's open the preview and let's see the difference before and after. As you can see, I recovered a little bit of both nebulosity, faint nebulosity, and of course I retained the details on the nebula, as you can see here. Let's zoom as close as possible. Okay, let's apply these curves to our galaxy, and let's close the curves transformation. The next step I made is always in curves transformation, is to go on the CIE component. So you open curves transformation, always with a range mask, click here, and let's see the difference it makes if we don't have this. Like if I click the reset button, this is the image we had before. If we let's try to go over here, and you see that you have richer colors, but you don't have to overuse this function, these tool, otherwise you will ruin your image. So I'd say to bring the CE component to this maybe to this extent. Okay, and apply it. Reset the whole thing, close curves transformation, and the next step is to apply SCNR. What is SCNR? SCNR is a process very useful in PixInsight that allows you to remove all the green from your images. So you find it in process or processes and SCNR. Well, you can decide how much green to remove. Usually, well, it depends on the DSO you are working with, because there are many DSOs that have green information in the in their image, so in their data. So you have to be sometimes very careful with the SCNR. I'd say that here we doesn't need green, so I've decided to use the max amount of SCNR. Just drag and drop it on your image. Okay, let's disable the let's deactivate the mask on the image, because we want also to remove the green tint on the background. So let's apply again SCNR, and we are done. As you can see, you have a whole different image from before. There's not anymore the hue green, like the green hue that you were seeing previously, and now you can see a little bit more of blue in the outer arms of the M81 Galaxy. So let's close SCNR, and now I am going to show you how to make the blue pop more in your images. Many people, especially with the nebulae or with other kind of DSOs, they go to process. They go to process or processes, and they open narrowband normalization, or sometimes they use an external script which has scripted by SetiAstro, which is the perfect palette picker. Personally, sometimes I like how the image turns out, sometimes no, because if you're not careful enough, you'll start seeing like blue blotches all over your background. So for this tutorial, I'll use the split RGB channels that you see here. So click on it, and you'll now see 3 monochromatic images. Since I just want the blue to pop more, I won't touch the first 2 channels. I won't touch the red channel, I won't touch the green channel, as you can see here, RGB. So click on the blue channel, go to Process, All Processes, and open once more the curves transformation. Click on the Preview button and make sure that here you're editing the correct channel, that is to say the Starless Tutorial B. Okay, then go to RGBK and boost a little bit and raise a little bit the curves. I'd say that this should be fine. At the same time, you may want to bring down a little bit the shadows. Otherwise, if you don't do this, you will get a blue tint all over the background. So to just to make sure that you didn't that you haven't put that you're not boosting the blue curves on your background, you can use the preview button. So click on the preview button and take a look at the background in particular. Okay, as you can see, I'm noticing a little bit of difference than before. So I have just to lower down a little bit more the curves on the shadows. Let's put it right here. Let's see now. Still too much. Let's bring it down a little bit more. I'd say here. Okay. Now, as you can see, there is virtually no difference between the before and the after. So let's reset the whole thing and apply this transformation on the blue channel. As you can see now, the blue channel is boosted up a little bit more. So go to Process. Like these steps require a little bit of trials and errors. So you have to try your own settings and you have to understand which one works best for you. So let's go to Process or Processes and LRGB combination. We have to deselect the luminance layer because we are not using luminance. Click here for the red channel and add the Starless Tutorial R. Do the same thing for the green, for the blue, and then check the chrominance noise reduction. Let's see how it goes. So let's apply global. Okay, now as you can see we have a whole different image than before. Let's take a look. This image that we previously had was like a little bit yellow tinted, which is not dramatic, but not good either. As you can see now in the new image, of course, we have a little bit of background change. I'm noticing it on my monitor. Okay. Now the image looks more interesting and with a more information on the blue channel. So since our LRGB combination creates a new image, we can close the Starlist tutorial, and we can just keep this image. So let's close also. If you're satisfied, you can close, or you can reduce them to icons, the single monochromatic channels. Let's apply again the range mask, because I want to pop a little bit more the saturation that we have in these images, in our image. Okay, let's apply the mask. As always, don't show the mask. And let's see what I did to the new image. Okay, on the new image, I boosted up the saturation even more. Let's see if it goes well, or if we have to do some modifications. Okay, let's apply it once, let's apply it twice, and I think I have applied the curves transformation 3 times. Yes, I applied the saturation 3 times. But I think that 2 times it is good, to be honest. Let's bring down the third. You can apply three saturation boost. Let's see. Okay, this should be fine. Okay, let's apply it a third time. Close curves transformation, and now you have a very saturated image. Okay. At the beginning of this tutorial, I told you to apply HDR right after stretching, but sometimes when you mess with curves transformation, you might end up bringing too much the highlights. So my advice is to apply, if needed, a second HDR multi-scale transform, but with more conservative options. For example, previously we applied a 5 number of layers. Now we have to see if a higher number produces a more pleasant result without overcooking the image. So let's try, always remember, with a range mask applied, an HDR transformation with 7 layers. Okay, as you can see, the difference is very big. This is the before, and this is the after. We recovered many details on both on the outer arms of the galaxy and also in the inner part of the galaxy, always keeping the core under control. You can try also, we could try also 8 layers to see if it makes any difference, or 6 layers. With 8 layers we don't see much difference. As you can see, yes, we have a different image, but not the result we are looking for. Let's see, just for comparison, how does it look with 6 layers of HDR. And in my opinion, this is too much. 6 layers is is already overcooking the image, making it too dark. So let's stick to 7 layers and apply it again. Okay. Now let's close the HDR multiscale transform. The next thing I did is to edit a little bit, since like this galaxy has an inner part that is like both the blue and both the red parts of these two galaxies are a little bit too like too red and too blue. I want to edit the colors more specifically. So let's remove the previous mask we created, and we can follow two paths. And in this tutorial, we'll try both. So the first path that you can follow is to download these color masks. I'll put the link in the description below this video. You just have to let me delete these selected icons. Once you download, where did I put the just give me one moment. Okay, you have to download this file, which is color masks. You have to click and drag the color masks over your workspace, and now you have all these icons. I'll put it here on the right. Let's see if the red mask is going to make a good job. So you take the red mask icon and you drag and drop it over your image. Okay, I think the mask is pretty good because it like selected the just the inner part of the galaxy and all the parts of the galaxy that have that has a red color. The important thing is that you don't want to apply this kind of mask to your original image, so you have to blur it a little bit, otherwise you will make a mess. So drag and drop the mask blur. You can do it, let's see if drag and dropping the mask blur 2 times. Okay, this should be good. So now apply the mask to your image, and I want to make this color a little bit more let's say yellowish, because I don't like the red color in the center of my galaxy. So apply the mask and go to curves transformation. In the curves transformation, you have to click on the green channel and make like this S curve. Let's see if it makes any difference. Okay, here we can see a substantial difference in the colors. Let's see the previews and the before and after. As you can see, this is the before and this is the after, and we have a more yellow color in the on the center of the galaxy. So you can apply this this curve. As you can see, if you try to apply it once more, you'll end up with a very like let's say ugly yellow on the galaxies. Let me explain you why you make these S curve on the image, because when you when you have a red color and you bring up the red, the green, you will obtain the yellow color. But why didn't I like just raise the curve with 1 point in the midtones? Because if you do if you raise the curve of the greens with just one point, like let's say if you want to, let's delete this one. If you raise the curve with just one point, as you can see, you lose the red information. I want it to be more gradual, with a yellow at the center and like a dark orange in the outer parts of my mask. This will make a more natural, this will give a more natural look to the image overall. So this is the image after we make the S curve on the with our red mask applied. So the next step I think this is the RGB working space. It's referring to a script that I used on the with a script named selective color correction. So first of all, you have to remove the mask from your image, then go to script, toolbox, and selective color correction. This is an extremely powerful tool that allows you to correct, to selectively correct the colors on your images, more than the single masks that you might download from the link below this video. So let's go to, for example, I want a little bit like this blue is a little bit too magenta in my opinion. So let's go to the mask and select the blue. Okay, if you click on show masks, you can see the intensity of the mask. Of course, I don't want to target the background, so I will drop down this intensity cursor and see what does it happen. So let's bring it down a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, now let's try the cyan. Okay, it's not working properly, so let's try with magenta. Okay, just bring down the intensity. Okay, it's not working the way I want. Let's bring down. Okay, let's go over to the blue. Let's bring down in the intensity. I want just to target the outer arms of the M81 and M82, but I think it's not working. Let's try to apply a blue mask and see what happens. Okay, we have a little bit of blue in the background. So the solution for this issue is to go to process, all processes, and we have to neutralize the background. So let's open background neutralization and let's click to the new preview mode. You have to select, maybe this is too much, you have to make a selection, for example here, and click on region of interest. Select the preview here and drag and drop it over your image. Now we shouldn't have, let's see the colors. Okay, now we don't have anymore the blue tint over our background. Let's try to apply again the blue mask. Okay, now we can see that the blue mask is a little bit better. Let's try to blur the mask again and again, and let's apply it to see what kind of difference we can make. So go to process or processes, curves transformation. Okay, open curves transformation, let's reset it, and let's go to let's try with the red. Okay, if you bring down the red too much, you'll start seeing that the image is becoming more like cyan, more yeah, turquoise. So I'd bring just a little bit down the red parts. Let's see if we, no, too much. Okay, I will bring just down just a little bit the reds. Then I go on the blues and I boost just a little. Let's see. Okay, and I boost just a little bit more, maybe a little less, the blue color on the galaxy. Let's see if we can make okay, now let's delete this point. Okay, I think that this should be fine. So let's see if we add a little bit of green as well. I think maybe this much would be enough. So let's see the before, which is a little bit magenta. Let's zoom on the galaxy. Let's see, like this is the before and this is the after. As you can see, there is a small difference between both of the images. So let's apply these curves. Okay. I can now, let's see here. Okay. I can now try to apply the toolbox selective color correction. Let's see if now it's picking up the blue in the correct way. Okay, not really. Okay, no, it's not picking the blue. But we can work with the yellow channel. Let's see. Okay. I want to edit a little bit more the yellow part of these galaxies. So I boost just a little bit the intensity. Okay, let's see if we bring down the smoothness. No. Okay, let's try to maybe, let's see if we, okay, no, this is definitely too much. Okay, let's try it like this. Okay, I just want a little bit more of saturation on the yellow, and here we are. We can try to add a little bit of contrast as well. Okay, and it seems fine. Let's decrease the contrast to see the difference. If we decrease the contrast, we'll lose some details. So let's maybe this much. And let's try to bring down or up the luminance to see if it makes any difference. Okay, I will bring it just a little bit up. Okay, then you can make it, or if you want a little bit more saturation on the yellow, you can bring it up a little bit more. Let's see. You can also like mess a little bit with the colors to see if adding one of these colors can make a difference. For example, if I add cyan, the yellow is becoming more faint. Let's bring down a little bit the cyan, and it's becoming blue, and it's becoming red again. So I'd say to leave the cyan at 0. Let's try to bring up the yellow to see the difference. Okay, maybe I can add a little bit of, let's say, 6 points of yellow. Let's try to bring the reds down by 4 points. Let's see the difference with -20. Okay, let's go, I'd say, with -8 points. Let's see if adding green is making any difference. As you can see, it's become the yellow color are becoming more light yellow. Okay, no, just leave the green to 0. Let's try with the blue this time. Okay, if you add a little bit more blue, it's changing a little bit. Okay. Okay, I think that bringing down the blue by 2 points make a little bit more of difference. So apply the changes, and this is the image that you have at this point. As you can see, it's a very similar image to the one that I made before. Let's see. Okay, because I added a little bit more of magenta on the outer arms instead of making them blue, but it's only your choice. If you prefer them more to be blue, then you can leave it blue. Otherwise, you can like boost a little bit more of red in the outer arms. Let's see if we can make like any difference with a new blue mask. Okay, let's try. So we have to apply the mask blur. We can apply it twice, and let's see if we open process, all processes, curves transformation. Let's reset the old thing. You can bring the reds just a little bit more, just to make it more magenta, or if you want, you can make an S-curve, just a small S-curve to see, to make like the inner parts, the most like bright parts of the nebula a little bit magenta, and the outer parts a little bit more blue. I'd probably go for this. Let's see the difference. Okay, this was definitely too blue, and this is the difference. If we boost the reds a little bit more, like this, you start seeing more magenta inside the galaxy. But I'll leave it like this and maybe raise a little bit more the reds on the shadows. Okay, let's apply it. Close curves transformation, close the color mask, and let's see the difference with my previous image. Okay, I think that the colors are matching. We can like edit a little bit. We can apply another round of HDR. Let's see how it goes. You have to apply the range mask on the two galaxies. And let's see if another round of HDR will give us the similar result. Okay, let's see. This is too much, so let's try to intensity instead of lightness, and let's see what will happen. Okay. It's definitely too dark in my opinion. Let's try to close the media and transform and see what happens. Definitely no. Let's try with the settings. You can see now more detail. We just have to deal a little bit with the yellow. Yes, but I think it's very similar to my previous result. Of course, we have to apply the sharpness to our image. So now we have to deal with the yellow again, and I think we have to make it a little bit more red. So we can remove the mask, go to process, to script, toolbox, and selective color correction. Let's target only let's try it with the yellow and see the mask. Let's bring down the smoothness and boost a little bit of the intensity. Maybe let's see if bringing the smoothness down a little bit. Okay, I think this should be fine. So we hide the mask. Let's bring the reds up a little bit more. Okay, a little bit more, let's say to 20. No, definitely too much. Let's bring up a little bit the luminosity. Okay. Let's say to 20 again. Let's try another round of saturation. Let's see. Definitely too much. Okay. And we try to add a little bit more contrast. Let's see the difference. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's apply the changes. And it starts looking very similar to my previous image. Just the yellow color has to be edited a little bit more to make it more red, but it's very similar to my previous attempt. So what are we going to do now? We can, for example, try to use a red mask and see what will happen. Okay, so this time the red mask worked very well. So we mask blur this and apply it over our image. We go to curves transformation. I'm sorry if this tutorial seems a little bit how can I say, a little bit chaotic, but this is the way I work. So let's try to bring the red color a little bit higher. Okay, definitely too much. So I think I leave it like this. Let's try the green. And it's becoming more red. Let's try an inverted S curve. Okay, I think that an inverted S curve, it's working pretty good. Okay, because I just want to edit. Let's try another thing. Okay, we made this. Let's go back a little, one step. We made this red mask. Many of you don't know that PixInsight has also a clone tool. So if you go to Process, All Processes, and go to Clone Stamp, you will see this window. If you click on your mask, you press Control. You keep pressed Control and click on the black on the dark background, and let's say we increase the radius to 80. We will have a brush. With this brush, we can delete the parts of the mask that we don't want in our image. For example, now let's apply it. I just want to make, because I really like the colors on the M81, but I want the colors on the M82 to be more reddish. So don't close this mask and apply the mask on your image. Now you can go to Process, All Processes, and Curves Transformation, and let's reset it and make it a little bit more reddish. Let's see. Let's see it like this, and let's try to bring down the green colors a little bit more. Okay, I'd say like this. Let's see how it looks. Okay. I think now that the colors are looking very similar to my previous attempt. So now, what are we going to do? Let's close this mask here. Okay, and let's apply our original range mask on both galaxies. Okay, now I want to bring down to bring up sharpness, and I do it with the unsharp mask. Okay, you can find the unsharp mask here in processes, all processes, and the unsharp mask option is right here. You open it, you put these settings. You can also see the real-time preview. As you can see, let's zoom on this galaxy. This is before, and this is this is before, and this is the after. As you can see, you're bringing out a little bit more detail on these nebula. Let's take a look also to the M81. Okay, and let's see the before and after. As you can see, you have a lot more detail on the galaxy. Okay, let's apply this unsharp mask and let's close it. Now I want to apply a little round of blur exterminator with the range mask applied. So let's go to process, all processes, blur exterminator. You open it. I will open it from here. Okay, and I used these settings. So you have to bring down sharpen stars to 0 and the sharpen stellar to 0.2. Let's apply it and see the difference from before. Okay. Okay, it's not working. So I may want to remove the mask from my image. Let's try again. Okay, let's go back and see if we have a little bit more. Okay, we definitely have more contrast and more detail, especially on the M82. Okay, let's close it, and we have to apply it. Since the image is a little bit noisy, I will apply another round of noise exterminator. So drag and drop it over your image with these settings. And now we have a very similar image to our previous one. As you can see, maybe a little bit more of different colors than before, but it's completely normal. I didn't follow the exact steps of my previous attempt. You can try to apply a little bit more, because like in my previous attempt, I made a slightly different range mask, I think. So I targeted also a background nebulosity. Let's see if we can make the same exact thing we did before. Let's go back. Let's try to remove the mask on both galaxies. So let's open again unsharp mask. but it's targeting the also our background. Yes, definitely targeting our background. So what can we do? Let's apply the range mask and try different, oh, sorry, and try different settings. Okay, let's go, for example, a little bit more, maybe here. Let's try 2, 3. Let's see the M82. Okay. Okay, let's try to apply it. And try again to apply blur exterminator. Let's try with a 0.3. Okay, as you can see, we have a small difference in the details. Yes. Okay, so let's apply again noise exterminator. I will apply it from here. Oh, sorry, we have to remove the mask. Okay, let's go. Okay, I think we are getting very close to our image. Just a little bit more detailed. Maybe I added too much sharpness here. But I think it's pretty good. Let's see M82. And it's very similar. Of course, I don't have the same exact color management. Maybe I can apply a little bit more of noise exterminator to see if we can bring down noise a little bit more on the background. Okay, and here we are. As you can see, a very, very similar result to my previous attempt. Of course, you have to try your own your own settings. You have to experiment a little bit on these subject, but these are the tools I'm using with these galaxies. Okay, so I think that the galaxy, the starless image is pretty good. Let's see if there is a tint on the background. No, I think it's legit. Okay, so now it's time to deal with the stars. So let's reset the screen transfer function. After you reset the screen transfer function, like to stretch the stars, you can use a script that is called SetiAstro star stretch. Where do you find the SetiAstro suite? You have to go in PixInsight on resources, updates, manage repository, and these two, you have to copy these two repository links to your repository list in order to add all the scripts of the Seestar, which are very useful, by the way. And of course, you will need for this tutorial also this script, this repository. I will put all the links for this repository on my under the description of this video. If you want, you can also add all the others, all the other repositories that I use on these on during my workflow. Okay, so let's close it. Let's go to script. Let's go to Seestar, and let's go to star stretch. Okay, let's enable show preview. I click remove green via SCNR, otherwise you will get green stars, and boost the color to the max. Let's click refresh preview. Okay, and execute. As you can see, stars have been stretched, but I think there is one issue here, because we are getting some magenta stars. Yes, we have a little bit here. We have magenta on the stars. I don't really like magenta on my stars, so I use a script that is called correct magenta stars. So we go to script, utilities, and correct magenta stars. Okay, you have to select your target view, which is to say the stars tutorial, and I usually bring this up to 1.0 and just click execute. Now, as you can see, you don't have magenta stars anymore. What do I do with stars? I go to process, all processes, curves transformation. I open the preview and go to saturation. I usually boost up saturation on stars, like let's see, two times. I make a curve like this, I apply it, and okay, I can apply it twice. Reset the old thing, close it, and now, as you can see, you have a lot more colors on your stars. You can also bring saturation up a little bit more if you prefer it. Okay, next thing I do is to combine let's close the old image. I make a clone of this image. You have to click on this name tab and drag it over your workspace. Okay. What do? I open Pixel Map. You can find it here on process, all processes, and then let me see, Pixel Map. You have to write this expression. I usually use this one to combine the starless and the stars. Just write combine. Let me open the expression editor and let me put it aside. So here the first image is your starless image, so it is the image 18. So I go to image 18, double click on it, and it will change the name. Then The second name is the one of your stars. So mine is star tutorial. So I look for star tutorial, double click on it, and that's it. And this is the formula. Click OK, and then drag the triangle and drop it over your starless image. As you can see, now you have a complete image. But in my opinion, stars are a little bit bloated, so they are very big in my opinion. Some people may like it, other people don't like it, like this. So my advice is, why did we make a clone of our image? Because we have to use the star reduction script. Okay, and this is you have to go to script, utilities, and star reduction. Okay, here in target view you have to select your complete image, which is image 18 in my case, and in the starless view you have to put the starless image, that is to say your clone. Okay, as you can see, all the stars have been reduced, but in my opinion they like the small stars are too shrinked, so you have to protect small stars. So you have to click initialize small star protection. As you can see, it will bring up small stars a little bit more. And then you always have to use the star method, and you can use the mode. You can try different settings. For example, if you lower the number of the iteration, the bigger stars will become more bloated. So you can go up with iteration, and as you can see, okay, let me show you like this. As you can see, your making the stars a little bit smaller. If you go on moderate, you will have less halo. It's up to you. It's really up to you and how you prefer to have the stars in your image. I'd say you might want to use, it depends on the bloating, the soft mode with the iteration 3, and you just click the green check mark. Okay, this is the star reduced image, as you can see. There is quite a difference between the before and after. The last step of this tutorial is to, since we have used blur exterminator, so the smaller stars become very, very pinpoint, so extremely sharpened, we have to recover part of the softness of the image. So we have to go on process or processes, and I go to resample image. Okay, here on the percentage I put usually 200. I select as algorithm the B-cubic B-spline. I toggle gamma correction, and I drag it over my image. It will make my image bigger than the previous one, because it makes like an interpolation of the image, making the stars softer. As you can see, if we take a look at this star here, in this case, before, it was like it had a very big halo, whereas in the star reduced one, the halo is reduced, and the star is looking rounder. the same applies to every star in the image, and that's it. I'm sorry for the long tutorial, but I work like in a very chaotic way, but this is pretty much the workflow I followed for this galaxy image. If you liked the video and I didn't bore you, I'd really appreciate if you can click if you can put a like and subscribe to my channels, so that I can bring you more tutorials, and I might want to try the same tutorial, the same workflow on Cyril, but we'll see if we can make it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.